we really pride ourselves on being hands-on and having open lines of communication, which I think is super paramount in anyone's health journey, no matter what you're doing, whether it be weight loss or something else. Drinking water, it does so much more for your body than just keeping you hydrated. It's not just let's give the patient the medication, let you go home and inject yourself. So we really sit down at each one of our appointments and go over a lot of lifestyle things with you. So diet, exercise, stress management, good sleep hygiene.
Hi, I'm Russ with Blue Wave TV. Today, we are joined by Dr. Nikki Javit, who is one of the owners of the Bay Islands Fitness and Transformation Center, known as BIFAT, you'll hear. Nikki, thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
So let's jump right into it. What is semaglutide?
So semaglutide is a weekly injectable medication that helps manage weight. And it was found in clinical studies that it can also decrease your blood pressure, decrease your blood glucose, and decrease your cholesterol.
Nice. So we're hearing that's called Ozempic and Wegovy. Is that how it said?
Correct. So semaglutide is both of those. That's the active ingredient. So Ozempic was originally approved in 2017 for controlling blood sugar in people with type 2 diabetes. And when those patients took that medication, the manufacturer during those studies noticed that they also lost a significant amount of weight, that their blood pressure was, decreased, cholesterol going down, etc. So the manufacturer came in and said, hey, let's do studies in a different patient population that doesn't have type 2 diabetes and see if we can see the same benefits. So they did, and in fact, that was the case. And so in 2021, the FDA came in and approved the medication under a different brand name drug called Wegovy. The only difference between the two is the dosing. So if you're on Wegovy for weight loss, that would be 2 additional higher doses versus it maxing out at the 1 milligram for type 2 diabetes.
Nice. So you referenced dosing. So let's dovetail into that. How does that actually work? So how does the semaglutide work with your body? Because you mentioned some changes in dosing. Kind of walk us through that, how it actually works.
So semaglutide mimics a natural hormone in your gut called glucagon-like peptide 1 and or GLP-1. People often refer to it as that.
I think I've seen that in ads, GLP-1s.
GLP-1s, yeah. So what those GLP-1s do is when you eat food, it sends a signal from your gut to your brain to tell you you're full. Then the other way that they work is that it keeps food in your stomach longer, so you're not wanting to eat food. You're already full. And then the third unique way that it works is that it sends a signal to your pancreas when you eat food, and it tells your pancreas to release insulin, which decreases your blood glucose. And why this is so important is because normally when we eat food and our blood glucose or blood sugars increase, anything that we don't use or the excess sugar that's floating around gets stored as fat. So this medication enables you to utilize all of your blood glucose and then there's no excess hanging around and it's not stored as fat. So those 3 sort of ways is how people lose weight.
So by balancing, of course, exercise, eating right, and utilizing a semaglutide, you really are building that true path, for lack of a better term, for success in the future.
For sure. So not only does it have those added benefits, the cardiovascular benefits, but it is supposed to be used with proper nutrition and exercise to really help boost your overall weight loss journey.
Nice. I know a lot of people are concerned. What are those little side effects and how prevalent are they?
So I don't have very specific percentages memorized, but the most common side effects that people notice while taking the medication are stomach related. Okay. So you could have nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, maybe some constipation. Some people experience bloating and burping. Okay.
Sure.
That's basically based on how the medication works. So if we're slowing down how fast food leaves your stomach, that's why you see those stomach related side effects.
Makes sense.
Then the other non-stomach related side effects would be headache and fatigue. So again, based on your new life, taking the medication. So if we're eating less calories, we're working out more, you could get a headache or feel fatigued. So those side effects that we see, although can be common, we have patients that never experience any side effects.
And in your practice, you and I were talking before, it's about half and half do and
about
don't?
50-50. Yeah, it just depends. And I think it's also important to note that It also depends on what other underlying conditions you have.
Good point.
So if you have irritable bowel syndrome or something going on with your GI, maybe a gut microbiome problem going on right now, maybe you would be more of a propensity to have those stomach-related side effects.
Makes sense. Okay. So I'm assuming that there are certain side effects that are more serious than others when they happen. Is it things like allergies? Is there an allergic reaction?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So when you're on the medication, you should never experience any stomach pain. So that would be like, oh my gosh, high up stomach pain in the middle of your stomach, pain that could be radiating to your back. So any sort of pain, you should never feel pain associated with the medication. The reason this is because in clinical studies, there was less than 1% of the people it occurred, but developed pancreatitis. And that could be a symptom of pancreatitis, which is simply inflammation of your pancreas, right? The other reason is when we tend to lose weight rapidly, we can have gallstones form in our gallbladder. So that's just another thing to look out for. So this is why we always tell our patient it's very important to stay hydrated and to stay moving around, physically active, so we can help prevent some of those, I guess, warnings, so to speak. But you should never feel stomach pain. And
to your point, some discomfort, maybe a little, I lack of a better word, agitation, irritation of your bowel, maybe, but not full-on pain.
Right. And to your point with the allergic reactions, so any medication that we can take, we can have an allergy to. And we won't know if we have an allergy to it until we take it, unfortunately. So it is an injection. So when you inject your stomach or your arm or wherever you're injecting, you should never see any sort of rash, okay? Bruising could be normal just because of the needle, but you should never see a rash.
And you bring up a good question. Is that how semaglutide is administered? It is an injection?
Semaglutide is a once-weekly injectable medication, and typically the dose is raised or increased every month. So you start out at a very low dose, which is the 0.25 milligrams. You'll be on that every week for 4 weeks. And then depending on how you respond to that medication, that's when we determine if you're a candidate for the next dose up. So we want to make sure that your appetite is suppressed, that you're losing weight, and that you're not experiencing any side effects. So if all of those are true, then you can go ahead and bump your dose up. With that being said, we do have patients who will reach out to me on WhatsApp or give us a phone call and say, hey, Nikki, I've noticed that during the first couple weeks I was on this, great, losing weight, appetite suppressed. Week 3 after I gave myself my injection, I'm feeling a little bit more of an appetite. So we can
earlier in the week.
A little earlier. So those patients, provided they're not having any side effects, they're bothersome, we would go ahead and bump you up a little bit earlier. So there are situations where that may occur.
Nikki, one of the things that we've heard about in the past is people going and buying Ozempic, Wegovy themselves and kind of doing this on themselves without any sort of medical oversight or professionalism. You all at the BiFet take a different route because it's really truly more of a partnership and more of a journey. Kind of talk about that little doctor-client relationship, if you would.
Yeah, so we really pride ourselves on being hands-on and having open lines of communication, which I think is super paramount in anyone's health journey, no matter what you're doing, whether it be weight loss or something else. So, during your initial consultation, you're told all the possible side effects that could happen, and then we answer your questions, etc. But when you go back home and you start injecting yourself with the medication every week, once those side effects pop up, if they do, then we have, various channels such as email, WhatsApp, phone calls that you can kind of just like dial into me, and I can go through, this is normal what you're experiencing, or no, you shouldn't be experiencing this, and then give you several ways on how to manage that. So another thing too is, like, as a full wellness package, it's not just let's give the patient the medication, let you go home and inject yourself. So we really sit down at each one of our appointments and go over a lot of lifestyle things with you. So diet, exercise, stress management, good sleep hygiene, things that can also. That's one thing
you and I were talking about is the necessity of sleep and hydration, especially here.
And hydration it's so hot. You can become dehydrated, but drinking water, it does so much more for your body than just keeping you hydrated, right? So it lubricates your joints. It helps you avoid headaches, because if you do get dehydrated, you could also have a headache, and that's a common side effect, of the medication. So which
especially
is it
here for all of us?
It also flushes all the toxins from your body.
One of the things we'd heard about, and you've heard it referencing on some ads, Ozempic specifically is under a shortage. Is that because there's too much demand? Are they not making enough? Kind of talk a little bit about that.
It's actually a combination of both.
Okay.
Simply put, the medication is on a drug shortage because people found out that it works, word of mouth. And the manufacturer who makes both Wegovy and Ozempic is the same. They just can't keep up with that demand. So number one, they can't keep up with the demand. Actually, in May of this year, they came out with a statement saying that they were going to halt production on their lower doses of the Wegovy, which is the first 3 months, in order to kind of ramp up, kind of figure out their marketing strategy and bring on some new manufacturers to help them make more medication. So I think it's a combination of both. It's the medication works great. People found out about it and it's like, yes, I need to get this. And then on the other hand, the manufacturer can't keep up with that demand. So they had to do some kind of things to in the meantime so they can actually produce more of the medication.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Well, and that's your point. Everything that's successful is going to have a demand to it, especially in the United States or in North America for that matter.
Yeah.
Okay. So for all of our listeners, watchers, some of our folks where we are, Spanish only. You'll have capabilities to work with them.
We have 2 Spanish translators that are available to virtually dial in to your appointment. And then our website as well is also available in a Spanish version.
I definitely have seen that. So nice. Okay. Magic number. What's the cost?
Yeah. So everybody wants to know what the cost is.
Of course. So, how much do I lose and how much is it going to cost me?
So at BiFat Center, our cost is $350 or 8,600 Lempira.
Okay.
And what that provides is
monthly?
Per month. Yes, thank you. Per month. And what that provides is the initial consultation is always free. So if you're kind of on the fence, you come in, you're not sure that you want to start it, or maybe you have some sort of underlying health conditions that you just want to make sure check out before you get on the medication, that initial consultation is free. But what the $350 includes is your medication for 4 weeks. So we'll give you 4 pre-filled syringes. We also provide you with a travel cooler kit. So we understand that a lot of people take vacations, or once they leave our clinic, they may not go directly home to put the medicine in the refrigerator because it needs to be there. So it gives you some time to go run your errands, go grocery shopping at Eldon's, do whatever you need to do. We discussed it before. It also includes just constant communication with us during your weight loss journey. So whether it's you need to shoot me a message on WhatsApp, send me an email, ask me some questions, I could always, make a video conference call with you or just a telephone call to you just to walk you through whatever questions you may have along the way.
Nice.
I think the most important thing though about cost is that our cost never increases when your dose increases.
Sure, absolutely.
So this is really important.
Especially as being a journey, this is not going to be a 3 pills 1 week and you're done. Right.
Well, it's important for 2 reasons. So the first reason is that there's going to be situations where you may need to increase your dose faster than the once every 4 weeks.
Sure.
So when that happens, if we have a client reach out to us and say, hey, the first couple of doses were great. My appetite was suppressed. I lost weight, no side effects. But when I gave myself that 3rd injection, I feel my appetite coming back on halfway through the week. So we have the ability to give you extra syringes or tell you to double up on your dose, and then we'll provide you extra doses for free. So if you were actually going to a pharmacy and that were to happen, you would just have to go and buy more product, right? Sure. So the pharmacies here, if you can find it, which a lot of patients that we have now are now coming to us because they were either prescribed it by their physician or they were just doing it. They're no longer able to find that medication. So what's available here in Honduras is called the dual dose Ozempic pen, which is semaglutide. And that pen only has the ability to dial to either the 0.25 or the 0.5 dose.
Sure, okay.
So once you start getting in those higher doses, you're going to need multiple boxes of those pens, right? So one of those boxes can be anywhere from $230 to $260. So once you have to buy a couple, that's when the price really gets up there. And when you get all the way to the highest dose, which is 2.4, you're buying a lot of product. So our price never changes, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's if you think about it in the context, especially relative to the United States or even North America in general, $350 is not much at all. Like you said, the product is staying consistent. You have the advice of a true doctor, a physician that's working with you, and you're on a journey. I mean, I like the way you guys say that because it is true. It's a journey. It's not just one hit in there. And for $350, if you want to truly change your life and take the stress off your knees and your liver and your lungs and everything else, I mean, I can't imagine not wanting to spend $350 to do that. So.
And to clarify, I'm not a physician. I'm a clinical pharmacist.
That's right. Pardon me. I say it all the time.
Okay.
She's Dr. Nikki. She's the smartest person I know.
Thank you.
All right. Last question I have for you today. Where are you? Where are you guys set up at?
Pristine Bay Beach Club.
Okay.
And we're located on the lower level. And so that's in French Harbor, across the street from Eldon's.
Right. Not down where the golf course is, but you're actually up on the beach club.
In the beach club, yeah.
Awesome. Dr. Nikki Javit, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So everyone, this has been Dr. Nikki Javit. She is, as we referenced, one of the owners of the Bay Islands Fitness and Transformation Center, BIFAT, as you know. And thanks for being with us today. We appreciate your time.
Me.
Yeah, our pleasure.